Hi, this is Jason Kidd of the Dallas Mavericks. You're listening to Drive Time Sports with Jordan Bescarini, KOAL, 750 AM.
We're back on Drive Time Sports, live from the Auto Farm Studios, gearing up for some NBA basketball. That's coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. David Locke and Ron Boone will bring you the live play-by-play call as the Utah Jazz take on the Phoenix Suns. It's one of 3 exhibition games that the Jazz will get. We saw this yesterday. We saw the Clippers. We saw the Nuggets. There were some fun storylines to talk about. But let's focus on what should become of these exhibition games. What are coaches looking for? And helping us break that down, we're going to bring in Tom Perkins of HoopCityNews.com. Tom is an independent NBA scout. And Tom, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for the time today.
Glad to be here. Always glad.
Yeah, it's always fun to talk, Tom, that is for sure. And again, we are gearing up for some exhibition games tonight. Of course, with you being a scout, I'm sure your eyes will be glued. What do you look for? What are coaches and teams looking for in these 3 quick exhibition games that we get?
Well, of course, they're looking to go ahead and get their starting lineup set, and they're looking to go ahead and get the rotation players set. There has been some nagging injuries. You know, Lakers got a couple of injuries, and they've got a couple of new people. See, new people also is a bit of a problem from the standpoint of figuring out where they fit. So it's just a matter of the coaches figuring out where people fit and how the style is going to be and how they're going to have the rotation.
It doesn't give teams a whole lot of time, and I know that yesterday the Nuggets, it looked like they played around with things a little bit. We got to see Bol Bol come out. He had a very intriguing game, a successful game. He made an impact. The Nuggets were definitely a team that messed with the lineups, and as far as Mike Malone was concerned, that was different yesterday. I didn't quite expect that from the Nuggets. Is that something that you believe we're going to see more and more of over the next week or so?
I do, because of the fact that there's got to be some adjustments made, and they can't. And remember, there's been a stoppage here for a couple of months here, and so they can't just pick up from where they left off. So there has to be some adjustments made, which will make each team look a little different, or at least they'll have some different offensive plays. And so it's a matter of the teams adjusting to what they want to do, and the coaches adjusting to what they have.
Tom Perkins, again, of HoopCityNews.com, our guest right now. We'll talk more about that site in just a moment. Tom, we'll talk about the Utah Jazz. Tonight, they get the Phoenix Suns. I don't believe this was the season that really a lot of Jazz fans had anticipated. There were some struggles in the regular season before we had the stoppage. We know that Bojan Bogdanovic is gone. I believe that affects this team greatly. He may have been their best player so far this season. You take a look at the bench. Jordan Clarkson was definitely a bright spot, but then there's the conversation of the rift. Is the locker room really, are they lacking camaraderie? I think that's a fair argument to make right now, a fair conversation to have, considering the history of Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. What do you make of the Utah Jazz?
Well, again, Bogdanovic being out is a big-time impact on them. And not only that, but the Mitchell, the Mitchell-Gobert, dynamics, that is not a good situation. And then on top of that, I'll give you a third one. Mike Conley has not played up to his standard. And they were expecting much more out of Mike Conley. So they've got 3 issues. In regards to Mitchell and Gobert, I saw several interviews while he was the first couple of days in Orlando, and Gobert said all the right things, that no matter what each other feel about each other personally, they got each other's back on the floor. Now, that can happen, and we've seen that with the Lakers, Shaquille and Kobe. They, were really not on the same page. They were not going to dine out together, but yet when it came between the lines, they played. Now, Gobert and Mitchell, if they can bury all their personal feelings, they're a pretty good doggone team. Problem with Gobert is he's wanting to be more of an offensive player when in fact he's not. And we know that Mitchell is an offensive player. So yeah, if you look far down the road, like after this particular season, And you say, well, who would they trade? Would they trade Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year, or would they trade a smaller guy, Mitchell? And because the league is a guard-oriented league, they would probably depart with Gobert. So it's such a shame that had to happen right now, because with Bogdanovich and Mike Conley playing up to par, and Mitchell and Gobert not being at odds, they could have had a real shot at something.
Yeah, especially when you take a look at the restart and all the variables that go along with it. I would agree with that. Too many questions for me with this Jazz team, and it's not just the Utah Jazz. I mean, I think if you look across the board in the Western Conference in general, there's a lot of questions. I mean, if we're talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, we know that Justice Winslow is going to be done for the season. It's a big piece. That was a piece that I believe could have helped the Grizzlies sneak into the postseason, sneak into the to the playoffs once we get past the 8 seeding games. But outside of the Jazz, when you take a look across the board, what other team provides some big question marks for you, Tom?
Well, it's a question mark that actually is probably going to be answered in the very positive, and that is the Lakers. The Lakers, they came in a little bit banged up. Of course, they lost their guard, and that's a shame. And now they're going to have to try out J.R. Smith but they've got some pieces that they could fit in. The big thing about the Lakers is this. One of the best players ever, which of course is LeBron, has played, season after season after season all the way into the finals and logged a lot of minutes. This is the first time he's ever had full rest. When LeBron had full rest, that's impressive. He's coming out to play 40 minutes. So that's a positive answer to the question, is what's going on with the Lakers. Then, of course, there's this business of, Anthony Davis doesn't want to play the 5. Well, how can you not want to play the 5? Play whatever you want. If they want you to play, if they want you to play backup point guard, then you better play that. And it looks like my dogs are getting all excited about that. Anyway, that's a positive answer. You look at the Clippers. The Clippers, of course, are a situation where Kawhi Leonard's been banged up for the past couple of years, and now he's fully healthy. Paul George has been banged up going into this. He's fully healthy. So now the Clippers look really promising, although Pat Bev has left the team and is being tested every day. It's kind of weird because every time a player leaves the team, and a lot of times they're just leaving a team because their family misses them, not necessarily because they have symptoms of the virus, but their family misses them. So it seems like a lot of the teams are pretty much intact with a few problems here and there. Philadelphia looks real healthy. Joel Embiid looks super, super healthy. But the team I want nobody to sleep on is the team that has probably played as consistent as anybody else in regards to playing the game well, and that's the Raptors.
Yeah, I agree.
The Raptors still have a championship mentality. They're not saying, hey, well, we don't have much of a chance. We lost Kawhi, blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, they don't think that at all. And whenever you think that, okay, well, it's just Siakam. It's not just Siakam. They've got several weapons. So they're playing with a lot of confidence, and they are playing well. So don't sleep on those guys. And, of course, we all know about the Bucks. The Bucks with probably the next superstar player of all players with Giannis Antetokounmpo. They could make some stuff, too. Although it has been shown if you play this kind of a box and one or kind of a layered zone, you can slow him down. So a lot of teams have got an answer to a lot of questions, but I guess not all teams have all the answers.
Right. Tom Perkins again of HoopCityNews.com. Tom, I know that we're going to catch up again next week, next Thursday, when we actually get the start of the NBA season. The Utah Jazz will tip things off right here against the New Orleans Pelicans, and then we'll move into the Lakers and Clippers. Should be a great night of basketball. Before I let you go, tell us about HoopCityNews.com.
Okay, on HoopCityNews.com, people are reading it all over the world, 23 countries now, and I've really gotten a wonderful response. And we have a page on our site which is called Hoop Gear, where people can buy merchandise, and the profits of those merchandise goes to send kids to basketball camps that can't afford it. But we're going to do an expose on the 22 teams that are left in this mix of finishing the season. And one of the things I want to point out for tonight's game, Dallas, look at Dallas. Really look at Dallas and see how, Luka Doncic is playing, because this kid is so special, and he is now healed too, because he had an ankle thing going. But, yeah, we're going to put out some good news, and, of course, as usual, you'll be able to listen to this broadcast on my Hoop City, because I will post it there as well.
Tom, it's always fun to chat with you. Thank you so much. I look forward to the conversation next week.
Okay, good to see you.